o'clock on Thursday, September 4th, 2025 in the Chickasaw County Board of Supervisors room. I will call this meeting to convene. Roll call, all members are present along with Board Secretary Sheila Shackleton. I consider this as more of a budget work session for amendment number 1. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda for September 4th, 2025?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. So what me and Sheila worked on the last 2 days after Tuesday's meeting was to put in the document that you guys have a paper copy of all the requests that was given to Sheila July of 25, with a couple more additional ones from secondary roads of the flooding issue. So I guess we'll go down these lines on this worksheet. So I think the first one we have in front of us is the sheriff is requesting, he upped it, if I can say that, 10,000. So 55,000 for a motor vehicle, and then 35,000 for a light equipment radio communication for the vehicle. So that's total 90. That is coming out of general basic. I'll explain them all and then we'll go back. Secondary roads, revenue of a bridge replacement, two bridges.
Yep.
So that budget amendment difference of 1.664 million revenue. And then the expense side looks like rock of 130,000. Additionally, maintenance projects of 102, bridges 1.6. The revenue is a swap. Correct.
Yeah, so those 2 bridges will be paid locally since they are not on a farm to market route, and then they get reimbursed.
So back to the 130,000 rock, that will be coming out of local option sales tax.
I guess we had that discussion, I just put it there and I don't know if you guys have my sheet, I put alternatively a portion or in full could be funded also out of RSB if you guys elect to do so, or cancel the whole thing, whatever.
And then what is your HMA maintenance project?
That was, Denko's slurry leveling, crack filling. There was a clerical error made at the end of FY 25, and it was just not possible to pay that out of in FY 25 due to the time constraints. So basically we didn't pay it in FY 25, we're gonna pay it in FY 26.
Gotcha.
There just wasn't enough time to adjust. I think the check went somewhere it shouldn't have been.
And then the property insurance of 27.5 that we discussed a couple weeks ago. So really in the sheet we have is none of it comes out of RSB, right?
Correct.
So it's coming out of his department budget or infrastructure or the swap of revenue compared to bridges.
Unless the board elects.
Yeah, we'll discuss the rock here shortly. Public health has requested revenue.
You got the sheet.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah. The breakdown of the line items.
Yeah.
So they requested revenue of 50,000 increase in public health, and then expenditures of 100,000. We can go into details when we get to that back. Environmental health is going to be an in of 30,000 revenue, and then another out of 30,000. So that's a wash. EMS is affixed to their donation line item.
Yeah, he's thinking that he might be purchasing a piece of equipment in January. And so we're just giving him permission to spend that money that's in his donations fund.
Because currently it was only 17.5, and he has about 38,000, I think, in it.
He has 29,107,
29,139.
but he's already spent 1,000.
Correct. And then on the general service side, for the air conditioning cooling towers, me and Sheila just put in 200,000 51 is kind of restricted by us for equipment and air conditioning and electrical and plumbing. We can discuss that more. And then the fix to Pioneer Cemetery of $800. Those are what's on the worksheet. Keep in mind, if this budget amendment gets approved on Monday for publication, there could be 2 more additional items down the road that we might have to do another budget amendment, and that would be for TIF, and then maybe a budget amendment for IT. And I'll just leave that there as that. So, back to the sheriff. Up or down, I guess, you guys want this to be put into the Department of Management to vote on a public hearing notice next Monday, is what we have to get to. So Sheila can get this to the Department of Management, get the worksheets to us, so we can approve a motion on Monday.
If I may, I know I talked about earlier in July about creating an account, whether we call it capital projects, equipment, whatever it might be, for long-term planning. So we don't get ourselves in a situation some other government bodies in this county are in with needing funds to update things. I know we talked about as a one-time thing from the budget surplus to put into this account. I have the option to maybe purchase part of the vehicle out of it or other equipment, whatever it might be, come up. I know something's gotta be earmarked. Is the county a savings account? Yeah, it is, but I think we need to start thinking long-term, especially with the unknowns of what the legislature might do as far as property tax reform might go on. I know in 2.5 years, I'm gonna need at least 20,000 of today's dollars, today's pricing to upgrade or update and keep current my body camera and in-car camera system, software. I mean, we can start planning for that now, which I think would be the best option to do, or I come back in 2.5 years, if I'm still the sheriff and say, I need $20,000, $25,000 extra in my budget. Do I have to find it somewhere else, cut other places? I mean, I think it's something we need to start thinking about, not just for my office, but other offices and departments in this county as well. So just want to throw that out there as an option.
And I get that, Ryan. I guess that's why we have the ending fund balance we have, is for those things that show up after the fact.
I'm just bringing it up,
I got it.
just so everybody's fully aware that there's a lot of things coming down the pipe that, or right, God forbid, wreck a vehicle and insurance only pays 60, 70, 80,000, I need 100,000. Do I have the money in my budget to replace the rest of it? Maybe not. So just things to think about.
With this one, I guess I will start. Do you think you have enough, like in January, to come back to us and see if a car is? No, I know. It's
I made things pretty tight this year. If you ask me January what I'm gonna get back, my net number right now is 0. I would like to think there'd be something left over, but I put the screws to it this year. It's almost to the point it makes me pretty nervous about some things. So we've spent almost half of what we did overall last year, housing units out of county. We've already spent half of that this year. And then it's only September.
Any other board member want to talk about this $90,000 out of general basic ending fund?
Basically, this time I'm not in favor of it. I know we'll have 1 or 2 more budget amendments this year, chances are. And I'd like to see us get further into the year to see how things are looking.
Travis?
Yeah, I'm kind of, you said it pretty well.
Isaac?
I'd say not at this time, we can address it a little later, I understand that you're tight, but I feel more comfortable addressing it later on. I would agree with what Steve said, I'm also a little concerned with, I know we got a lot of vehicles that got a lot of miles on them, but we've replaced a lot of vehicles in the last year and a half, and I'm just afraid down the road, we're gonna be back in the same spot, buying a bunch of new vehicles all at the same time. I think we need to get this thing spread out a little bit.
I'm on track for 1 a year. I'm just behind if I don't.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Yep.
Secondary roads then. You guys understand the bridge replacement, 1.6 in and out? That one okay? Property insurance, that's just gonna come, he's gonna make a new line item, it looks like, and 27.5 will come out of his budget.
And it has to, it's the whole reason we did it, so.
So then the rock from the floods, well, go back to that, top coat, 102,000. So that was scheduled for last year.
Yeah, it was in the FY 25 budget, just basically taking the dollars that were in that, moving them to 26, and they've already been paid, so it was services rendered.
That comes out of the local option, 40% to
That
infrastructure
was an
fund.
infrastructure fund project.
So that's just cleaning up the budget. And then I'll talk about the 130,000 or whatever this board decides to give. If do nothing, it comes out of his budget.
If we do nothing, I will be looking at a budget amendment because we will probably have a red flag for the county or the state's budget audit because this adds significant costs to those line items. So if it comes out of our ending fund balance, then we're going, we're trying to keep that at that 25% as well for the same reason you guys do. And right now we've been building it back up to about that level from the 21 flood. Prior to that, from the 16 flood. So yeah.
Any thoughts? You guys want, my idea would be maybe to split it, some out of local option, the 40%, or some out of RSB. RSB, Sheila gave you guys those numbers today. The rural service beginning balance was 765 with all the bills being paid. That reminds you of 2 payments to the ambulance, fully expense, the land use administrator budget, libraries are paid, Northeast Iowa response was paid out of it, the 6,000. So anyway, balance in June is 671,000. I figure that's about 26% in RSB. It's your guys' feeling, I guess, of where the ambulance will be paid if we do trigger a payment in January. I think RSB has room to move a little bit, but maybe not the whole 130. I did talk to Roman, he's okay to use the infrastructure fund, the 40%, but remember that delays projects down the road.
So yeah, the current balance of the infrastructure fund is 322,000 roughly. We have 100,000 left as obligation for FY 26, which would be our stock culvert order. So that would bring us to 222,000 as far as current balance with obligations being accounted for. We received, conservative estimate is $30,000 a month into that 0035 infrastructure fund. The actual average for FY 24 was 34,900. It varies from month to month depending on how much people buy in the county. So if we just said 30,000, you're looking at roughly 4 months for revenues to that account to backfill what I'm requesting. And right now we don't currently have any projects scheduled out of there aside from what we utilize out of there for contract rock and culverts on a yearly basis, as has been the trend.
So we want to get it.
No, I haven't got any discussion yet. Any board member want?
I guess I'll just throw it out there, $100,000 on RSB and 30,000 on infrastructure, or I'd actually be in favor of just doing 65,000 from each.
That's where I would be at, just because we don't know. It's what if, right? We don't know what this winter's gonna bring. We don't know if there's another flood in the spring. We don't know. I would hate to use one more than the other. The local option has more room, I think, just because there's no projects slated. That is almost like the savings account for secondary roads. That's what the people voted for. So RSB is half and half.
You like to have it in there?
Mhm.
Okay.
And remember, Roman's department budget is taking care of the overtime, the fuel, the wear and tear on all those trucks that loaded a lot of rock.
Yeah, the number I gave you guys had no equipment hours in it because I guess I didn't really know if you wanted that number. I gave you salary, but the salary would have been paid regardless if we had a flood or not. Fuel, that was about $12,000. I would assume we would have used half of that in fuel if we didn't have a flood. So we lost roughly 6,000 in fuel.
Then you're still hauling rock. You're
But
still.
the $130,000 in rock is not gonna cover what this flood has caused, but it will alleviate the majority of it. Because a lot of it, we don't know. It's gonna take time. We find things here, find things there.
And that's the reason why we're pushing this budget amendment, I think I said it Tuesday, is to pay those bills directly from local option.
Yeah, and right now, the earliest that we would be paying any bills as far as rock for this flood would be September 22nd. So on that same token, I know this budget amendment wouldn't be fully executed by then, but we still also have well over, I can't remember the exact amount, I could get it in 2 seconds here. I think it's about $1.3+ million to pay for our contract rock, which per the contract would be paid by November 1st. So if we have to pay this out of our department right now, I would basically use the budget amendment to pay for contract rock. It does the same thing to alleviate our budget. It's because those bills don't have a grace period like our contract rock does, with this budget amendment pertaining to it.
So what I'm hearing, Roman, or Sheila, you're the secretary, 65 and 65. 65 out of the 40% infrastructure fund and 65 out of RSP.
Okay.
So just want to clear here, Jake, for the public. So that 102 for the maintenance project and the 27.5 for property insurance, he's gonna eat that out of his budget. That's just gonna be a line item, or are you paying for those as well?
No,
102 is out of the infrastructure fund, that was programmed in FY '25.
correct.
The 27.5, yes, will be absorbed by our budget for the boards.
So how much new money are you proposing to transfer into his department?
The 130
The
plus the
130.
102?
The 130. It's the
Yeah.
130.
And that's not really a transfer, it's a direct payment.
Correct, right.
The 102 is
That was
due
done.
to bills not being paid last fiscal year.
Yep,
Work that was done,
pretty much a check.
So it's 130 in new money, that's what public's gonna see.
130 new money.
Just so we're
Yep. Anything else with secondary roads?
I got a question.
Yes, Joe.
On his rock, on RSV, isn't that done by transfer?
No.
So you're gonna be, how you, we're gonna be paying that rock out of RSV?
Make a new account.
That's what I thought I'd do, is just make a new account.
There's not an existing account that really pertains
So
to
you're trying
that.
to get that plus the transfer of the one, where you're gonna do to RSV over the $3?
Right.
Will that be questioned by the private auditors?
No, because it's paid direct. If it was transferred to secondary roads and we paid it direct, then yes, you would be,
Yeah, I know.
It's still tax dollars.
Yeah, I'll ask the private auditors to see.
We had this discussion here a year or so ago.
it's-
And then we
And it was, I think it was unanimously decided across the state that you cannot transfer funds directly into the account. But it was kind of a 50-50 split across the state, whether or not you could pay bills from the other account.
it's
It was a
even,
mixed opinion.
it's,
That's what we discussed.
even in the DOT's annual report even says funds utilized for road purposes, but not paid by secondary roads. We put numbers in there for that, so the state acknowledges it. It's no different than our Kenwood Avenue project for ARPA and the infrastructure fund. That was paid direct, not through secondary roads as fund, which we account for that in our annual report.
Yep, because you can only get 3.375 directly into secondary roads fund.
And that's primarily to make sure, well, that's the limit, but they also do the checks and balances on 75% minimum local effort. If you don't meet that, then they will take away your road use tax dollars that secondary roads receives because you're not putting your effort in. They don't feel that you should get road use tax. Which we don't have that problem, thank you. Some counties are starting to encounter that with 718.
All right, moving on to public health then. Lisa, you want to explain anything else, or did I kind of get it in a nutshell and you just want the board to discuss? It's up to you.
I can kind of explain, so like, you want me to do environmental health, is that all in one or is that separate?
It's separate on our sheet.
Okay, so we'll start with public health. So I think, yeah, we explained this before, we're looking for an aide, a nurse and things like that. The revenue that we did put in there, it reflects the work done by the aide. So the work done by the aide would make more than what it would cost to have her, pretty much. And it would provide services to the county, which would benefit, and I kind of told Jake this morning, I was doing a little bit of research on, I'm going back to my BSN, so doing research articles and things like on home care and the effects of rural areas and things like that. And it also, there's a whole bunch of factors that go into it. It kind of cuts down to and saves on inappropriate calls to the sheriff's office, inappropriate calls to EMS and things, because we can handle those in the home and take care of those. It cuts down on the hospital and healthcare system. It keeps people in the home, so you guys are still getting revenue for your tax money and things like that. So you kind of got to think of it as a whole too, and not just a little piece. But yeah, that's, unless you have anything to add, just to kind of explain everything. Oh yes, we talked to about the opioid funds. We have a meeting after this, but possibly funding a nurse with the opioid funds, and she can do some opioid work and go out and do teachings and education to the county for that. So that would cover that part-time, yeah. So we're trying to, what we put in there, we're trying to get back kind of in revenue. But, so the opioid money is not reflected in the revenue though, yet. Until we talk about that.
You would use the same full-time nurse,
It would be a part-time nurse.
part-time nurse?
Full-time paid.
Full-time aide, correct, yep. And then I did kind of explain this morning that, the caseworkers for Medicaid said that the reimbursement rates for the homemaker did increase this year. And the way our reports and things are looking for Medicare, it should be better for revenue or for payments next year for us. Reimbursement, yep. So we're just kind of looking at different things like that. We're looking at infrastructure grants that we can get and different stuff like that. Pending if we have, people to do the work.
How's your census right now?
Our census is, because we don't have some of those Medicaid people, 40 some, I want to say 44, would be my guess. Different people, and that's just because we had to cut a whole bunch of services, or it would be more. And that's only on home health. Public health, we help a lot more people. We have people calling in all the time. I have blood people, dog bites. This has been a busy week actually, but.
In that expense budget amendment, that would give back 3% raises to all staff?
That is included in there, correct. Just because we're one of the few departments that didn't get a raise, and I just feel like it's appropriate since we're doing a lot more work to also be included in that.
So if the Board of Health got this budget amendment, they would rescind and cost adjustment or one-time pay, so the auditor's office knows how that works?
So the 3% would start after the budget amendment was done, so it wouldn't go back to July 1st.
Okay.
It'd be like,
I was gonna say that would be a payroll maker.
Yeah. No, we just expected it to start after it was approved.
Okay.
Not go back.
Any other information the board needs, or I guess I'll open up for discussion, board members? They're asking for 100,000 more and 50,000 more in revenue on the public health.
I think it's a pretty reasonable ask for as much as they got cut earlier in the year.
I agree. How many people do you think this is affecting by this cut?
Over 20 or more. I do say that we put the 50,000 in there, and again, that reflects the homemaker or the aid services. That doesn't reflect, we have to talk, in the opioid committee about the opioid funds, but that doesn't reflect what that would bring into.
Travis, you got anything?
I have no problem as long as the revenue's there. But, there's other departments that also do not take a pay raise. I'm
Who was
not,
that?
no,
Which ones?
I think everybody did except Travis.
They're the only ones.
I thought, well, Joel did.
He's under contract,
Okay.
but his staff did.
Staff did. Like supervisors, the only ones that didn't take a raise.
Correct. Scott, you got anything?
The other question, I guess, and then I know we'll discuss this probably at 10 o'clock, but, you know, what, you have anything in mind as far as percentage of opioid money that would go towards that nurse?
I do not, and yeah, like you said, we would probably discuss that during the opioid meeting and we would know, more about that. I've been looking at, again, a little bit of different stuff. I haven't had a lot of time to look into like what we can do, but we could go out in the community and provide programming and maybe, get some free Narcan for people and train people how to use Narcan to prevent the overdoses, which again would save you and save ambulance and things like that.
So then you would have to do a new job description for that full-time nurse.
We would add stuff in.
Add
Probably.
opioid education and stuff.
Well, we've been looking for ways to spend that opioid money, so if that's the way to do it, I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's something we definitely we looked at it last month, we're gonna look at it today, but otherwise, I think it's a reasonable ask.
So maybe like a 75-25. So if your board makes a motion, not telling you what to do, so then the auditor knows how to code it, so the opioid funds go down and it doesn't come directly from your department.
Sure.
Because I'm just 80-20, whatever it is.
You can figure that out.
Yeah. I gotta meet with my group.
So we just do the bottom line, we do not dictate department line items in this Thomas board, so are we okay then to put forward to Monday, $100,000 expense and $50,000 revenue? And Tina, I think you got the line items to give to Sheila?
And then, my question though is with the 50,000 for the public health, that part is maybe gonna be part of the opioid. No,
That's gonna be more revenue,
Additional.
additional
That's for
funds.
homemaker.
So you're gonna have to get those, unless you did already, Tina, those line items for revenue.
That should have
In the
been,
budget.
yep, that was right on the email. So.
But I can give it to you again.
For home-
Which email?
It was on your email from yesterday, that. the-
My revenue accounts, yes.
Yes, the account number, yep.
All right,
And then I'll call you when I put this together.
Sounds
okay? So we got a consensus, a yes?
yeah, just leave it as is, their request. Environmental health then, 30,000 revenue, 30,000 expense. Lisa?
Correct. So it would be at 30,000, so he's able to do that well work. We got calls yesterday on shot chlorinations and things like that, and I had to tell the people, I don't know if I have enough money, fill out your forms and we'll hold them. If I do have money, I'll pay you. If not, we can't reimburse you for that. But again, it's kind of an in and out, and if we can do the work, and get more money like we did last year, it possibly could be more than the $30 or $30,000 of revenue. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't understand why you know what I mean, why you wouldn't, because it's kind of an in and out, it's more money for the county, that type of thing that we can use.
That is putting Derek back up to 35 hours.
That is correct, yep. And he already gets insurance, so it would just be putting him back to the 35 hours, which would include the FICA and IFRS in there. And then the rest of it would go to that well grant so that we are able to do that programming for the people of our county and then get that revenue back into the budget.
I can recall, didn't the well give more money than what was projected last year?
It did.
We got extra money.
We did, over what we were projected. So what they do is, I think I've explained this before, but it takes money from other counties that did not use their money, and we get to bring it into our county, and number one, get money for our county. Number two, we get to do services and protect the water, the well water in our county.
Travis, you okay with this 30 in, 30 out?
Yeah.
Isaac?
Yeah.
So yes, Scott?
Yeah,
I did visit, I'm okay with it too, I did visit with Lisa, I think in the future, we need to talk about maybe potentially going up to 40 hours and maybe doing some other work for the county if we can utilize that staff.
And that's what we wanna do, we wanna work together, and if we can do that, so I'd definitely be willing to talk about that.
So we'll have those future discussions, but as of right now, put it in the budget amendment for Monday's discussion for publication, 30/30. If you got those numbers, you're working with them.
Yeah.
Okay. EMS should be very self-explanatory. It's his donation line item where he brings an idea back to the Board of Supervisors. It just has a little bit more money in it. He wants to do a piece of equipment, like Sheila said, in January, so just need to up it from 17,500 to 38,000.
And he, like he said, it isn't like needs to be done today, but I asked him, since we're doing the budget amendment, because you don't always know if they're gonna be doing another one then, so.
Everybody's okay with that? The air conditioner then, currently we have it, potentially, we didn't have it discussed in budget work sessions in March and April, but we do have, $250 in capital projects that could get it purchased? Or do you want to maybe add some ending fund balance out of GB, 251 general services, or do you want to add that to capital projects? Unless this board has no other capital projects in mind in the future. So it's either do nothing with this and use a line item that's already been budgeted for out of capital projects, or do you want to use some of the ending fund balance to pay for the air conditioner cooling system on the roof?
I'd like to come out of capital projects. If something else comes up, we can do another budget amendment. I think that's what this.
Just keep in mind the deteriorating power issue with the sheriff's office. That we don't have any answers, I just haven't dug into it, but we all know if there's a problem there.
That could be tip money can be used to refurbish that building, all right?
Yes.
I'm not talking refurbishing it, I'm talking about just power issue.
Okay, but to address any money that's spent in that building can't be TIF, all right?
I have
Any
no
money?
idea.
Correct.
Isaac, where do you go at?
yeah, I'm okay with it coming out of capital projects as well.
So the current budget? You guys all good?
I guess my question would be, I lean more towards capital project budget, but I mean, if we do this budget amendment and we have to Monday say if we open bids, is that gonna delay us getting it ordered if we have to do pending a budget amendment? Because I don't think we have time to delay it to get it here.
No.
If that's the case, I would just let's do it under capital projects, like Steve said, if we have to do another budget amendment.
To transfer money?
Yeah,
Fair enough. So cross that one off, we'll just keep current budget to take care of that. Pioneer Cemetery then is just to clean the records for the tax dollars,
Right.
deferred tax dollars, whatever. Add a little bit more money to that. So to answer Dave's question, I guess, and what it is the only addition, general basic fund that I can see is the 50,000 for public health.
Was 100.
But the
Well, I'm
I'm
records-
assuming you haven't gotten that back yet. But you're assuming you're getting that back.
So yes, 100,000
Right.
for public health.
Right.
But with
When I
50,000,
started, I had it at 340 for general basic.
correct. Do you guys understand?
About 30,000, if not, environmental health also. So that's it too.
Correct.
It's offset, but
It's an offset. Usually the revenue does show up, in some cases it doesn't, but
just Dave's point.
Right. Yeah, that's what the taxpayers will wanna know, and Joe made that point a week ago, what actual new money are you allocating against them?
So it'll be 130. With not a guarantee of 80,000 coming back. Anything else? Remember, the budget is a working document, so things come up, things change. Emergencies happen. I think all my notes are covered. Anybody else have any other concerns about budget amendment for Monday?
So your capital project line on, what department do you have your 250,000 in now?
It's at 99, but I can change the
to
department,
51?
just so, yeah, I can change that, I just have to leave the service area.
So that's gonna be part of your, resolution for department resolution then?
Mm-hmm.
Just change it from 99 to 51 then? Whatever you guys.
But there's an exact number for air conditioning, which is 61.1, so I might switch it to that number.
But I mean, you still have to change your department so you can
Yeah, I
get
can,
history on that.
Mhm.
So if you ever need it, just say.
I'll,
Sounds like a win-win, but I wanna thank you for considering the public health and environmental health request. You'll do the services to the residents, will appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome. Anything else? If not, Sheila will prepare this document and get a temporary department management form ready for us. If we can get it approved by Monday, or on Monday, I think the date would be publication 11/12, public hearing would be the 22nd, pending board appropriation. Right? I believe that's the process.
when did you say, October,
No, so it would go to the paper the 11th and 12th,
and then it's,
10/20, we'll push you to the 22nd
okay, the 22nd, okay.
for the public hearing. But we will set this in stone on Monday. And then you need to have some reasons why the change. I will work with Sheila and bring it to you guys on Monday, the 8th. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
Travis, did you say that?
Travis, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Motion by Travis, second by Scott to adjourn at 9:37. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried.